dad's on the phone.
Good morning. This is call number 2020-07024 in the interest of Lyric Martinez Ramirez. All parties, please raise your right hands to be sworn. Your right hand, ma'am.
Oh.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the child.
My name is Nicole Ruth Ramirez, and my relationship to my child is I'm his mother. He's my son.
All right. And counsel, your name and who you represent?
My name is Michelle Castro. I represent petitioner Nicole Ramirez.
Sir, your name and your relationship to the child?
My name is David Martinez Hernandez. I'm representing myself, and I'm the father of Lyric.
And for the state?
Toya Armstrong, representing the Office of the Attorney General.
All right, we've got an original petition in a suit affecting parent-child relationship with an acknowledgement of paternity. We're having a hearing. Do we have any stipulations?
The only stipulation we have at the moment, sir, is that the child Lyric will live with mom, so mom would be the primary conservator, but there are no other agreements.
All right, counsel, is that your agreement so far?
That is our agreement so far, Judge.
Sir, Mr. Hernandez, is that your agreement so far?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Let's proceed.
All right, I'd like to call Ms. Ramirez first.
Okay.
Is that you? Are you Nicole Ramirez?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're the mother of Lyric, is that right?
Yes.
Now, my office filed this petition to set child support, conservatorship, visitation, some other issues. Are you aware?
Yes.
And I am recommending to the court to make you the sole managed conservator of Lyric. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes.
Now, can you tell the court why you do not want to be made managing conservator with Mr. Martinez? For example, are y'all able to make joint decisions about the child?
No, because basically I do everything, like all the decisions for my son.
Okay. You make the day-to-day decisions for Lyric?
Yes.
And when is the last time Mr. Martinez has made any decisions for Lyric?
Since we split, he hasn't seen my child since then. That was last year. So it's been like a whole year, basically.
Okay. What was the month and year the last time Mr. Martinez saw Lyric?
When my child was 6 months, it was in November 2019.
Okay. And since November of 2019, has Mr. Martinez contacted you to ask about the child?
No, he only asked me like maybe 2 times,
Okay.
but that was it.
Okay. Now, do you have any safety concerns regarding Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
And what are those safety concerns?
I'm concerned about my safety and my child's safety.
So if Mr. Martinez were to have your address, could that potentially cause you or the child any harm or harassment?
Yes.
And why do you say yes? Has something occurred in the past?
Yes, due to violence between me and him in the past, and as well as him being under the influence doing drugs.
What kind of drugs do you believe that he does?
He does marijuana and cocaine
And how do you know that he does these illegal drugs?
because I have evidence of him doing it.
What type of evidence do you have?
Him doing coke, smoking weed, and selling coke.
And how is this evidence recorded?
Video
And when was it recorded on the video? What month and year
this year.
of 2020?
Yes.
All right. So if I ask the court to have your address protected, would that be okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk about, now where does Mr. Martinez live right now? What state? Do you know?
He lives in Florida.
Okay. And because Mr. Martinez has moved to the state of Florida, do you agree that you do not want to be restricted to a certain area with you and the child live? Are you in agreement with that, to not be restricted?
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry.
So normally a parent and a child would have to be restricted to live in Harris County. But since dad lives in Florida, way outside of Harris County,
Mhm.
to be free to move about?
Yes, I want to be free to move about. Yes.
Okay, all right. Now, as far as visitation, you said that dad hasn't seen the child in almost a year. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
That's incorrect.
I'm speaking with Miss Ramirez right now, Mr. Martinez, okay? All right, Miss Ramirez, are you comfortable with dad having unsupervised visits?
No, I want the visitations to be supervised.
Okay, and who do you want to supervise those visitations?
I would prefer the Harris County to do it.
You're referring to the domestic relations office?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. All right. Now, were we able to, do you know what Mr. Martinez does for a living?
Yes, he's a painter.
Okay, and was he also a painter when he lived here in Houston as well?
Yes.
When he lived in here in Houston as a painter, do you know how much he made per hour?
Yes, he made 16 an hour. He was an industrial painter here.
Okay. Do you know how much he makes now that he's in Florida? Painting?
That I know of, he makes about 20 an hour, but of course he's not gonna say that. So
Okay, but how do you know that he makes 20 an hour in Florida? How do you know that personally?
because he has his own company and as well as a video of him stating that he makes that much.
Okay, and what is it? Do you know the name of his company, his painting company?
Yes, it's called Tacuache Painting.
The Quacha?
Tacuache Painting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And he's the owner of that business as far as you know?
Yes.
And where did you see this, that he owns this business? What, was it on
It's
social
on,
media? Did he?
yes, it's on Facebook. It has his phone number and his email and everything on there. So, yes.
Okay. All right. All right. And are you asking the court to set his child support based on 20 an hour? Based on this business?
Yes.
Okay. So if we did do $20 an hour times a 40-hour work week, then that would put his income at $3,466.67 per month before taxes. Is that about right?
I think so. I'm not good at
Okay.
math, but yes.
Yes, okay, all right. And I'm gonna plug that in. Are you asking the court to set child support based on whatever my calculations come to based on that income?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And I'll do all the math, so don't worry about that part.
Yeah.
All right, now how do you have the child covered for health insurance?
He's under Medicaid, Texas Children's Health Plan.
And has Lyric always been under the Medicaid?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have any outstanding medical bills for Lyric at this time?
No.
Okay. Are you aware that Mr. Martinez has one other child that he pays child support for in the state of Florida? Are you aware?
Yes.
Okay. And so I'm going to ask the court to calculate child support at 17.5%, giving Mr. Martinez credit for that one child. You okay with that?
Okay, that's fine. Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, based on his income, I would ask the court to, are you okay if I ask the court for him to pay medical support of $156 per month for the Medicaid?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. So if I put in 156, then I'm going to also, I want to know if you're okay if I for it to then make him also pay child support in the amount of $451 per month based on the income. Are you okay with that amount of child support?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Now, have there been any other issues between you and Mr. Martinez that you want the court to be aware of?
No, I'm just afraid for my safety concerns, more so for my child. Like I don't want him to be under the influence or to do something to me or to my son. That's what I'm concerned. I'm afraid that he will be on drugs or high around my son. That's what I'm mainly concerned. Or what if he does something or something happens? I'm afraid
Mhm.
that something will happen to my kid.
Okay, and that's why you're asking the court for the supervised visitation to the domestic relations office. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right. I'll pass this witness at this time to Ms. Kessler.
Ms. Kessler, do you have any questions for her?
Just a couple clarification. Ms. Ramirez, when you talked about Mr. Martinez doing drugs, you mentioned that you had video evidence of him doing drugs this year. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in that video, you can see Mr. Ramirez or Mr. Martinez doing cocaine. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you have also witnessed Mr. Martinez do cocaine in front of you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that was when you were living with Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Okay. And was that one of the reasons that you and Mr. Martinez decided to separate?
Yes.
And did you confront Mr. Martinez about his drug use prior to him?
Yes.
leaving?
I wanted him to stop doing drugs and he didn't want to. So that's one of the reasons why we also split, because he didn't want to stop smoking weed or doing cocaine.
Okay. And so when you say you're concerned about your child being with Mr. Martinez because he may be under the influence, are you afraid something would happen to your child?
Yes.
Are you afraid that he would not be properly supervised if he was with Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
And is that because of Mr. Martinez's drug use?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And in terms of the domestic violence, can you just briefly explain what happened in November of 2019 that caused you to feel afraid for your safety? Mr. Martinez?
Yes, he hit me while I had my son, and he took my son from my arms and threw him on the couch. So that's one of the things that I'm afraid. Like, he's very aggressive. I don't want him like near me or to be like that around my son at all.
Okay, and
Well,
at that,
I object to
that-
that.
Sir,
Mr.
sir,
Martinez?
hello, Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez, this is a trial. This lady is on the witness stand. She's being questioned by her attorney. You're going to have an opportunity to ask her questions, but you can't interrupt while this is going on, as no one will interrupt you when you're giving your testimony, okay? So
Yes, sir.
you'll be given an opportunity, but not right now, okay? Go ahead,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Kessler.
And Ms. Ramirez, how old was Lyric at the time when Mr. Martinez threw the child onto the couch?
6 months.
And in terms of your testimony regarding his income, can you just briefly elaborate on what you saw on Facebook with regard to his business?
Yes, on Facebook, it has his information and basically what he does as a painter, and there's videos of him painting. So
And does that Facebook post indicate that that is his own business?
yes, because it has his information there. It has his number, his email, all of that. So
And did you also have video of Mr. Martinez stating how much money he made?
yes,
Okay, and in that video, does Mr. Martinez state that he worked 36 hours and made $2,000?
yes,
And that he then made an additional $1,000 for side
yes,
jobs?
yes,
And that he also makes $50 an hour for pressure washing?
yes,
And you have a video of that. And was that video this year?
yes.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right,
Thank
now,
you.
Mr. Hernandez, you have an opportunity to ask Ms. Ramirez questions. Go ahead.
Yes. Are those videos dated? Do they
Yes,
have a
those.
date? Because they could probably
Okay, wait a minute.
old
Wait,
videos.
Mr. Hernandez. You asked a question. It's a question
Yeah.
answer. So the question is, are those videos dated? Ms. Ramirez.
Yeah. Are those videos
Yes,
dated?
yes, those videos are this year. Yes,
Uh,
they're dated and timed. Yes.
and did you really leave me for the reason of of me doing cocaine? Because that's
Okay.
Yes,
That's the
I did
question.
leave you because you were doing drugs. I didn't want that anymore in my life. I didn't want you to continue doing drugs, and you still wanted to keep doing it. So,
and is it true that you have a case open in the state of Texas of that you have a case open of child neglect?
no, I
Because
have no case. No.
your mother had called me and had told me about the whereabouts
Objection,
of where
hearsay.
that happened.
Yeah,
right.
that is not true.
Sustained. Go ahead, Mr.
So
Ramirez.
what you're telling me is a lie that you did not throw my son on the floor to fight your brother because you guys were getting into an argument.
No, that is not true. I would never do that to my son. No.
Like, well, I have a witness with that too.
Okay, sir, it's the question
Object.
time. If you have witnesses, I'll let you present witnesses, but right now you're just asking questions.
Yes, sir. And where do you have proof that that company is mine?
Well, it has your information on it and it has you on the videos. So, I mean,
But
you weren't on the company, then why is your information on there? I mean, if it's not your company.
it's a blog. There's a difference between a blog.
Objection. Mr. Hernandez
Okay.
is testifying.
All right, sustained. Just the question, sir. I'm gonna allow you to make a statement at some point, but right now it's just questioning the person on the witness stand, which is Mrs. Ramirez. Do you have another question for her, Mr. Hernandez?
Did I never did I message you asking you for my son every day?
No.
I
No,
guess
no.
that's it for the questions for with me, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Miss Armstrong, do you have further questions of this witness?
Yes, sir. A few more questions from Ms. Ramirez. Ms. Ramirez, when Mr. Martinez left to go live in Florida, that was November of 2019, correct?
Yes.
And for that past 12 months, has Mr. Martinez given you any money for child support for Lyric?
No, he's only giving me money like 2 times. One for his birthday, and one time he sent 140. I think it was last year. I can't remember which exact month, but I think it was maybe December or so.
Okay.
Mhm.
So are you wanting retroactive child support, which we call back child support for those 12 months for the child?
Yes.
And I was able to calculate back child support of $451 per month times 12 months to be $5,412. Are you wanting that amount of back child support from Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
And are you okay if I ask the court to have him pay that at $25 per month?
Yes. It's fine.
And are you okay with all these payments beginning November 1st of 2020?
Yes.
I pass the witness.
Ms. Kessler,
No further questions, Judge.
Mr. Hernandez, you have any further questions of Ms. Ramirez?
Yeah. Is she wanting to do a DNA test?
Well, that's
I'm gonna
that's not a
object to all of it.
that's not a proper
Yeah.
question, actually.
Well, no, I don't, Your Honor.
All right, call your next witness, Miss Armstrong.
I'll call Mr. David Martinez Hernandez. Sir, is that you? Are you David Martinez Hernandez?
Yeah, David Martinez Hernandez.
And you're the father of Lyric, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you sent me receipts of some items that you sent to Ramirez for the child. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I was
Because I
able to.
couldn't find.
Objection non-responsive after yes.
Okay, sustain.
Now, Mr. Martinez, I was able to add up those receipts you sent me, and it came to about $289. Is that correct?
Actually, if I was able to find the other receipts, it would have been a
Objection
great.
non-responsive to my question.
All right, sir. I'm going to give you an opportunity to make a statement, but right now you just need to answer the questions that are being asked of you.
Honor, with all my respect, I've been answering the questions, and the
All right,
lady
so
is
the question was, did the receipts that you sent her add up to $289?
yeah, I'm guessing, yeah.
Okay, all right.
And are you asking the court to give you credit for that $289?
No, because I still have more that I could put in, but
So you don't
you
want
were
credit
giving
for
me
the
an attitude the whole time when I was trying to explain to you everything.
No, okay, it's my understanding that he wants to have credit for more than $289. That's what his
Okay.
answer is.
Okay, I'll move on. Now, Mr. Martinez, did you move to Florida in November 2018?
I moved to Florida November 22nd,
Of what year, sir?
2019.
Okay. Now, when was the last time you saw Lyric in person?
Hello?
Can you mute your phone?
Yeah. Ms. Ramirez.
Thank you. Objection non-responsive to my question.
Well, I don't think he heard the question. Ask the question again.
I'll repeat it. Yes, sir. Mr. Martinez, my question was, when's the last time you saw Lyric in person?
In person, last time I seen Lyric in person was November 17th of 2019.
Thank you, sir. Now, Ms. Ramirez did some testimony of some family violence between the two of you. Did you hear her testimony regarding that?
Yes, which is I object to what she's saying.
Objection non-responsive after yes.
All right, sustain.
Okay. Now, do you agree that there has been some family violence between the two of you?
Yeah, but
Yes. Okay.
but
Have you ever used illegal drugs?
before me and her were in a relationship, yes, I did.
Okay.
But while I
Now,
was with her,
objection
I had
after
quit.
yes, non-responsive after yes.
Sustain.
Mr. Martinez, if you could please just answer my questions, okay? The judge has already told you to give you a chance. This is not that time, okay? Now, okay. Where do you work currently?
Work painting, but there's no work at all. This due to the pandemic, there's no work out here in Florida, not as much.
What company do you work for?
EPC painting.
Okay. And do you have your own painting company?
No, I do not. I have a personal blog where I
Have
just
you-
blog my work
Okay.
that I do with EPC painting.
Have you ever, what's the name of your blog?
Huh? It's a blog that I created myself. I created a
Correct.
blog so I could
What's
post
the name?
pictures that I do.
Non-responsive.
Okay, what's the name of your blog, sir?
It's
Does it
called
have-
Tacuache Paint. It's just
Okay.
a blog. It's just a personal blog where I post the chemicals and jobs that I've done.
All right.
Okay. All right. And how long have you been a painter?
I've been a painter since I was 16 years old.
And how old are you now? So how many years is that?
I'm about to turn 23 next month.
Okay, so about 7 years or so you've been a painter. Is that about right?
Approximately.
Okay. And did you paint in Houston too? Was that your job when you lived here?
Yes, I painted in Houston, and I
And
was
you were
never
making
making those.
$16 an hour when you lived here in
No,
Houston?
ma'am. I was making $14 an hour.
$14 an hour. And how
Yeah,
much
and that was for
objection non-responsive?
Okay, hold on, sir. I'm going to
$14
sustain the
an hour.
objection. Go ahead, ma'am. Ms.
All right.
Armstrong.
Now, Mr. Martinez, now that you live in Florida, are you also getting paid hourly?
Yeah, hourly, and I
Okay.
said
How much do
$12
you-
an hour.
$12? Okay.
$12 an hour.
Do you also do power washing?
Power washing. I do power washing in the company before we paint. We pressure wash a house, and then the next day we come to do the prep work.
Okay. How much do you get paid for power washing?
I don't get paid. It's part of whatever I get in hours is what I get paid.
Okay, it's part of that same $12 an hour. That's your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have private health insurance available for Lyric?
No, I do not have.
Okay. And you do have another child in Florida that's under the age of 18, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you pay child support for that child in Florida?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I pass this witness.
Ms. Kessler, do you have any questions of Mr. Hernandez?
I do, Judge. Mr. Hernandez, you've had notice of this hearing since August 31st. Is that correct?
August 31st. Yeah, if I recall, yes.
Okay. And so on the notice that you received, you were told that you were to appear in court and to produce documents showing your income. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so have you brought any documents here today that shows how much money you make?
No, but that's how much I make. You
Okay.
need me
So
to.
you've had 2 months to come up with documentation to show this court how much money you made, and you've brought nothing. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so are you aware that if you go onto Google and you type in average price for painters, average wage for painters in Florida, the wage is $19.72 per hour?
No, that's not correct.
Okay. I just asked if you were aware if you typed that into Google. So is your answer no?
No.
Okay. And so did you start a blog called Takwasha Painting?
Yes, a blog.
Okay. I understand.
It
So on
specifically
the
says a blog.
objection, non-responsive. Mr. Hernandez, just answer the questions that I'm asking you, okay? On this blog, does it have your phone number?
Yes, it does.
And does it have your email?
Yes.
Okay. And nowhere on the blog does it say anything about EPC painting, correct?
And nowhere in the blog says anything of
The question is,
personal
does
business.
anywhere on the blog, Mr. Hernandez, say anything about any other company besides David Martinez Hernandez?
No.
Okay. And are you aware that Ms. Ramirez has a video recording of you stating that you made $2,000 for 36 hours of work and an
No, I do not
additional
have no. I do
$1,000
not have no video.
and
I
an
do not
additional
recall none of it.
$1,000 for a side job?
Nope.
So what you want to do today, Mr. Hernandez, is you want the court to just take your word for it that you only make $12 an hour, despite the fact that you could have brought documentation in showing
Because that's what I
how much
make.
you make.
That's what I make.
But you brought
What
nothing. to
what do
show
I
that,
gotta?
correct?
Why am I gonna sit here and argue with that when that's what I make?
Have you filed taxes, Mr. Martinez?
No, because I never got my taxes from Texas. I called you guys. I called Texas to get my taxes. I never got my taxes
Objection,
from them.
non-responsive after no.
Okay, so no, you have not submitted taxes, correct?
Okay,
No.
so Mr. Martinez, it's your testimony that you are no longer doing illegal drugs?
I'm not doing no illegal drugs.
Okay, and so is it your testimony here today that you would pass a 6-month hair follicle test?
Yes.
If that was ordered by the court, you would pass that test?
Yeah, if it was ordered by the court, yeah.
Okay. And when is the last time that you've done cocaine?
I don't recall because I don't mess with that stuff no more.
Okay, so have you done it since you lived in Florida?
No.
So if we have a video of you doing cocaine in Florida, how would you explain that?
How would I explain that? That could be an old video from me from way back in the day, like 3-4 years ago.
Okay, and if it was
When I
date
was on
stamped
it. That's like 4
2020,
years
how would you
ago.
explain that, Mr. Hernandez?
That what?
If it was date stamped 2020, how would you explain that?
You know how easy it is for people to edit and do stuff like that on social media. You know how easy it is to edit and do things.
Okay. And in
I don't
terms
know
of
if it could be
the
false application too,
objection,
itself.
non-responsive. Mr. Hernandez, in terms of the domestic violence, do you recall the incident that Ms. Ramirez testified to?
No.
You don't? You don't recall in November of 19 striking Ms. Ramirez while she was holding the
No,
child?
that's a lie. That's a lie.
And then-
She called the cops
And
to
you
come
don't
pick up the
recall
stuff.
throwing the child onto the couch?
No, that's false. That's false.
But you do admit that there has been domestic violence in this relationship.
That's false. There's never been domestic violence.
But previously, you testified that there had been domestic violence. You testified just
But not
recently that
domestic
there had
violence
been.
in like physical. We're talking about arguments. Not domestic violence in like physical, me hitting her. No, it's been always about arguments, and there's always been arguments. Nothing more.
Okay. I pass the
If
witness.
anything, she's the one who got physical with
Mr.
me.
Hernandez?
Mr. Hernandez, hold on. Ms. Armstrong, do you have any more questions for Mr. Hernandez?
No, sir.
Any more questions from Mr. Hernandez, Ms. Kessler?
No, Judge.
All right. Now, Mr. Hernandez, you're on the stand, and you can testify to whatever you want to testify to, and they'll have an opportunity to cross-examine you, okay? So if you want to say something about all this, go ahead.
I do want to say something about this because I messaged her mom every single day. I got back. I landed in Florida. Every day I hit her up asking her about my son. And the thing she sent me was, the thing she'd always send me was this. And I got pictures of it, of everything she has told me, just for me asking about my son. I asked her on, this was November 26, 2019 at it was. I asked her around 10:24 a.m. How's my son? And then I asked her, when do you want me to send the money? And then she said December 2nd. And then I told her, how much do you need? She said however much you can. And then I told her, how much do you need? And then I said, how's my baby boy? And she never said nothing. And then there was another time, which was November. Yeah, the same day. I just screenshotted all the text messages. I told her I had messaged her and I told her, look, I don't want no problems with you, to be honest. She said, anything you gotta say, we settle in court. And then I asked her, can I know about my son? How's he doing? Is he okay? And like, you really think I'm playing or something? And I still have the right to know about my child. She said, we'll settle this in court. He's fine without you. And but yeah, and there was when I came back to Florida, there was I got a hold of her every day. I said, how's my son? How's my son? And she came back at me trying to argue with me, telling me that I'm a piece of shit, that I'm this, that I'm that. What am I supposed to say to something like that? Yeah, I have a personal blog that says Tacuache Painting, but not once have I ever got a job in that blog. I just blog my chemicals, the products, and the stuff, the work I do. Yeah, I understand that it don't show EPC painting on it, but that's work that I do on EPC painting. I just like to post my personal stuff. And saying that she came to the house November 17th. She came to the apartment complex, 526 Plum Creek Drive. Came to the apartment complex, asking to get the rest of her belongings, and she did not leave me for any drug use. I sat her down one day. I had just got home from work. I sat down with her. We had a conversation, and I told her, "Look, is this what you want?" She thought about it. Not even 5 minutes later, she walked out of the apartment, and she made a phone call. And then she came back inside. She said, "You know what? I'm grabbing my stuff. I'm taking my shit, and I'm gone." So she got up and left, which was, and then November 17th, she came. She came with the cops. She tried to come into my apartment complex, which is the apartment complex at the time was under my name. She tried to come and open my door to try and grab the kids' belongings. And I spoke to the police, and we have a report with the police. And she tried to get violent, not violent, but she tried to get all mad, and she started getting violent because she couldn't come inside the apartment complex without my consent because I'm the owner of the apartment. So she got the stuff that she needed to get out the apartment, and that's what happened. And then from there, I had to change the locks to the apartment complex because she was trying to come in, breaking into my apartment when I'm at work. And that's just why I changed the locks to the apartment complex, because she was trying to break into my apartment. and I got contacted by her mom saying that she don't
Objection, hearsay.
All right, I can't, I'll sustain the objection. You can't tell me what somebody else told you. It has to be what you know.
What I know is that she had an open case. Well, open case of child neglection with her brother because she had a fight with her brother, and she tossed her son onto the floor to get it to continue the fight with her brother. And I did send her money. I sent her money December. I sent her money on January. If I didn't send it on March, I sent it to her on May, and I also sent her some on my son's birthday. I had bought him stuff, and I also sent money too.
Okay, how
So
much are you claiming that you have sent? Money and whatever you've purchased.
for the month of his birthday, I sent $100. For the month of his birthday, I sent $100.
Okay,
I've
I'd like to
I've
know
been
how
looking for
much, I'd like to know how much the total that you say that you've sent her is.
the total. Okay,
Yes.
so on January, I sent her $150. On December, I sent her $250. January, I sent her another $150. And I wasn't sure if February or March was the month that I didn't send her money, but I sent her about $100 or $120. What I could afford out of my pocket because I got things to pay here too. And then for his birthday, the month of his birthday, I sent $100. Plus, I bought merchandise on the internet, and I boxed it all in, and I sent it to her, and I sent it to her by mail. It was approximately about $100 worth of the kids stuff, which was like diapers, sippy cups, toys, you name it, bibs and stuff like that for the kid, because that's what kids need. So, and then from there, I lost connection. There was another time there was one time that I had to order. I made a placement online on Walmart for her to go do a pickup, to pick up some toys from Walmart. So I don't know if she recalls that, but there was a time that I bought something online and I couldn't send it to her, so I told her to go pick it up at the Walmart over there at the Walmart pickup. And I believe she picked it up or she didn't pick it up. But I know I've been part of my son's life. I tried to be part of my son's life, and there's no way. The only reason I can't do anything about it is because she has me blocked on everything. How am I supposed to get a hold of her? How do I have any? I don't have any contact information that indicates that where she's at or where am I sending the money to or where the money is going to. I have no whereabouts of my child.
Okay. You have any questions for him, Ms. Armstrong?
I do not, Your Honor.
Ms. Kessler?
Just quickly, Judge, and so the amount of money that you're stating that you sent, again, you were only able to produce receipts showing $289 of that money, correct?
It showed $250 in that picture I sent you.
Right, $250 and then $39 for the shipping fee, correct?
Yeah,
That's
plus
what you
the stuff
provided.
that were inside the box,
And then
which I couldn't find.
after that time of his birthday, April, when you testified that you sent him money, you never sent any money again after that, correct?
Yeah, because that's from there I lost all the resources that I had to contact her, so I had no way to contact her.
Okay, so on July 7th of 2020 at 9:16 p.m., when she emailed you asking you about your work information, you didn't email her back and say, hey, I've lost contact. I need your contact information so I can send some money for my child.
When I tried, whether I tried or didn't try, she always tried to find a way to have an argument.
Mr. Martinez, on July 7th, did you return the email that Ms. Ramirez sent to you and ask her what her address was so you could send her money?
No, I didn't, because
You actually
no
never
matter,
responded to that email, correct?
no, ma'am.
Okay. I have nothing further, Judge.
All right, any final arguments? Ms. Armstrong?
Yes, Your Honor. We would ask the court to set child support based on his income, which would come to $450, $451 per month for child support. That's based on his income of $20 an hour, and medical support of $156 per month, both to begin November 1st of 2020. And we asked for mom to be made sole managing conservator of the child due to this family violence history between the parties, dad to be made possessory conservator of the child. I'm asking the court to not give mom a geographic restriction since dad lives outside the state already. And I'm asking for a supervised visitation through the domestic relations office, and a non-disclosure fine to protect Ms. Ramirez's address and contact information, and court costs to be paid by Mr. Martinez due on or before February 1st of 2021. And I'm sorry, also a retroactive child support judgment. The original amount was $5,412. Whatever credit the court's willing to give, I'll subtract that amount, whatever the court wants to give him, and pay it out at $25 per month. Also begin November 1st of 2020. That's all.
All right. All right, Ms. Kessler, you have any?
No, just quickly, we're in line with what the AG is asking for. Just want to emphasize Ms. Ramirez's fear regarding the domestic violence incident that has occurred and her ongoing fear about Mr. Martinez Hernandez's drug use, and that she has had substantiated evidence in the past year that he is continuing to use illegal drugs, both marijuana and cocaine. That's all, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Hernandez, anything further you want to say?
Yeah, like I had asked before, I want a DNA test. If you guys want to go with further and close the case, and we want to come to a final agreement, my suggestion is for me to have a DNA test with my son to know if he's actually mine. Because he was conceived in the state of Florida, and she was cheating on me while we were together.
Objection,
So,
Your Honor. We put on no testimony for this request. This is closing arguments.
Sustained,
I would
sir.
like
That's not part of the testimony that we heard on this matter, so you can't argue about that. And you're not going to get a DNA test.
And why is that? Could I ask the reason why?
Because it's too late.
How's it late?
All right. I'm not answering any questions, sir. I'm just going to make a ruling. I'm not on the witness stand. All right. So the court finds it's in the best interest of this child that the mother be appointed sole managing conservator, the father be appointed possessor conservator, with possession and access supervised by the domestic relations office. Non-disclosure is granted. Father to pay child support in the amount of $425 a month. And cash
I'm not
medical
going to pay
support
that.
in the amount of $150 a month.
Okay.
To begin November 1st, 2020. Retroactive child support judgment awarded in the amount of $4,500.
Okay.
To be paid at the rate of $45 a month.
Okay.
Beginning November 1st. There's no geographical description.
Okay.
Restriction, I'm sorry, ordered. Court cost to be paid by the father not later than January 31st, 2021. All other stipulations approved. Do we have any other issue that I haven't hit upon? I believe that's it, correct?
I believe you
so,
covered
Judge.
everything.
Yes.
Your
All right.
Honor.
Give me an order. Thank you.
Yes, sir. May we be
Thank you,
Excused.
Judge.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Kessler, if you could hang on for a moment.
Yes.
If all the parties could hang on for a moment until he takes us off YouTube, till the secretary takes us off YouTube. 1 second.
Okay.